Welcome to Sister Talk Radio. This is your host, Big Sis.
Welcome to Sister Talk Radio. Today's podcast is on combating depression. Keep in mind, it is the holiday season. It's supposed to be a cheery, loving, happy time of year, but oftentimes for a lot of people, it is not. It is actually a very depressing time of year for some of us. I feel that, number one, we could be under a lot of pressure to, let's say, cook Thanksgiving dinner, make, Christmas happy for everyone. But oftentimes we reflect on our loved ones that may have passed on. Even if we don't have any loved ones that have passed on, it may be kind of lonely and depressing, given that, let's say, if our family is in a different geographical location and we can't be with them, how lonely and sad can that be, not being with your loved ones? So it is also, for a lot of places, geographically in the United States, it can be very cold, and so you have that cold feeling, and a lot of times there's not a lot of sun when it's the cool of the winter as it is in the summer. So all those conditions plus more combined can really make us hunker down and really get in our feelings. So that is the premise of why I'm coming to you today, to give you some tactics and tools to get over depression. So for me, growing up, my grandmother was always a truth teller. Like, she did not miss any words. So one Thanksgiving, my grandmother decided it would be a great idea at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Mind you, there's a ton of people, like over 25 people. It was one of our biggest Thanksgiving dinners ever. She decided to break the news to the family that, unfortunately, one of my cousins got shot and killed. I guess he was murdered in the woods, and we just found out she just found out maybe 2 days before that he got shot and killed, and she wanted to break the news to the family at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Everyone backed away from that table so fast, no one could eat a drop more food. It was probably the most depressing Thanksgiving dinner ever. I don't know why she did it, but it literally ruined our Thanksgiving dinner. So every Thanksgiving I think of that. I also think of my loved ones who, have gone on that can't be with me every single year. And it's just kind of sad, even not even just for Thanksgiving, for Christmas too, but it also can be a happy time of year. So I don't want to take that away. So one of the things that I wanted to go over are some things that you could do to combat depression. Now, I want to note that if you do have clinical depression, I would advise you to seek a professional. Go to your doctor. If you need to be on medication, please do that. Please take this as a supplement, something you could do in addition to that. Don't take it as a one and all be all. If it helps you, that's awesome. But I am not a medical professional, so I cannot say if you do this, it will solve all your issues. I wish I had that magic. All right, so let's get right into it. One of the things that I've done in the past that really helped me to get back into my zen, which is a good space, is volunteering. A lot of times when you volunteer, it gets you out of your funk. You forget about all the things that are going on and realize there are people who are less fortunate than you. And it just, I don't know, it just, first of all, you're giving back, which is an amazing thing to do. You're giving of your time. You can never replace time. So when you give someone your time through volunteering, it is, to me, it's one of the greatest gifts. And then when you're helping someone in maybe not the best situation, maybe let's say a homeless person or a person who may not even be homeless but doesn't have food on their table. So let's say you're preparing Thanksgiving dinner for the homelessness or people in shelters, or you're getting gifts for little kids who don't have gifts for Christmas or whose parents can't afford gifts, is such a great feeling to give back. You couldn't pay me any amount of money to replace that feeling of gratitude that you feel to give. So that is one of the ways, and you can look for so many volunteering. You could just Google it, volunteering opportunities. Don't just wait for Thanksgiving and Christmas to do, or the holiday season period to do volunteering, because it's year round. Anytime I used to tutor, and to help build some child's confidence, let's say if they hated math, I could tutor in math really well, or science, and to see their GPA go up by 1 point, or to see them gain confidence through knowing math now when they were before intimidated with it, is the biggest, greatest feeling in the world. It really, really gets you out your funk, and you realize that there's more to life than just to you. Let's see, another thing that you could do, a lot of times when we get in our head, we're not grounded. So a lot of times with depression, we're just like, oh, woe was me, I'm feeling sad, I. So if you could connect the two, you see how volunteering really helps to get you out of your funk, but also doing random acts of kindness. So instead of just giving that homeless person a few bucks, bringing them a blanket. Imagine having to sit out there on a bench, go to sleep, or be in a corner, go to sleep. All you have is cardboard, maybe a sheet. How great would it be to give someone a hot cup of tea, or a nice blanket to put over them so they can sleep? You may not be able to provide them with a house to live in or even a room, but giving them a blanket just so they can weather the storm, that means a lot to them. And it makes you feel really good to do that. Another random act of kindness is to go visit the elderly. Go to different nursing homes. Go help out. And it's also volunteering, but just random, like paying for the person behind you in the drive-thru. You see, or someone in front of you who is at the register, they're having some issues paying for whatever bill they have to pay, offering them a few bucks, even if they don't ask for it. Like, that is such a really nice, noble thing to do. Another thing that you could do is to be around children. Now, if you ever go to a playground and watch children, not in a creepy way, but just if you're in a playground, let's see, maybe at a park, just watch them. They are so carefree. It's like there are no worries of the day. They're just in full bliss. These kids are just running, playing with the leaves, playing in the snow. They're just like, oh my gosh, life is so amazing. Meanwhile, they're not thinking, oh my gosh, I have these bills, I don't know how I'm going to pay it. It's like when we become adults, we lose that childish or childlike behavior. So do this. Go ask a child, I want you to pretend like you're an adult. Watch the seriousness come on their face. Watch how they straighten up, how there's no fun in their demeanor. They're very serious, and that is a great representation of what we do when as adults, like, we forget that childish behavior. So going out, being around children, you don't have to go to a park. If you have nephews, nieces, relatives, just watch them play. They have so much fun. Even little babies, they're just like, yay, oh my gosh, oh, this new toy, I'm so happy. And it just does something to your heart. It just makes you feel so good all over. All right. And even playing with them, that's another thing that you could do. If you have any relatives, nephews, nieces, cousins, like, do that. It's like, hey, do you want me, maybe not babysit, because that could be a little chore-like, but if you do and you're okay with that, great. Especially if you have a baby who's a really good baby or a really great child. Another thing you could do is to talk to a friend. I remember my great aunt, I had called her, and I remember I was back in college and I just called just to check on her and just say hi, which I do. sometimes for relatives, I just called just to say hello. And she was just so happy. She was just like, oh, thank you so much for calling me. I really appreciate it. This made my day. And I'm like, huh? I just called. Like, we didn't even speak that long. I just called to see how she was doing. And she was just so elated. So sometimes talking to a friend, especially around this holiday season, just pick up the phone. Maybe there's a friend you haven't spoke to in a while and was like, hey, I'm just checking on you. Just see how you're doing, because you never know how they're feeling. They could be in a funk too. Maybe you guys can talk it out. It's just kind of therapeutic. It's almost like going to a counselor and you get to talk it out. Maybe they have no idea that you're in a funk. But even if you were, it's kind of like checking on someone and talking to someone really gets you out of your head, which is really important. Okay, another thing is, if you have the time, putting together a support group. So if you have people who you've met, there's so many support groups out there for depression or just to combat depression. You could just do a search for your particular area, look for support groups. For depression, you can meet up, and that's a good way to know that you're not alone, because sometimes you can feel like you're the only person in the world who's going through what you're going through. But it's so weird, because when you go to a support group, you see like, oh, wow, you're going through that too? I'm going through that. Oh, that happens to you too? Oh, I'm going through that. And then you learn from everyone what their tactics are to get through or what they do. But even before then, you learn that it's just comforting to know that someone is going through what you're going through. Okay, and then the next one, a lot of times when we're in our head and we're depressed or we're isolated, we isolate ourselves, we become very disconnected. So it's important that you get connected to your environment. So I always recommend that people go into nature. So whether that is sitting by the river, going to the beach. I know it's a little cooler this year, not everybody has a beach near them. Going to a lake, going to water, getting out of nature, going to the forest, something like that. Just get out into nature, sit on the grass, hug a tree. You know how they say hug a tree, it makes you feel better? Hug a tree. That really is true. But the most important thing is get in nature. If you have to go to the lake or to the river or to the beach, being around, or a waterfall. If you have a waterfall in your area, that is wonderful. But if you don't, it doesn't matter. Just being around water and nature is really going to help you reconnect and become grounded again. It's just something that it does. It's just so therapeutic and it's so helpful. Just try that. And as you do that, I would try to do it. If you could do it twice a week, that's awesome. But at least once a week, just go out in nature, just reconnect. If you just want to go out and write your thoughts down, that's a good thing to do. And if you just want to meditate, if you're a person who meditates, that's good. Meditate is not the traditional hum, with the praying hands hum. It's not like that. Meditation is so many different forms. You could pray. You could do the humming meditation. There's like 50 million ways to meditate. You can write. So I recommend for people to write out their thoughts in a journal while they're in nature. It's like being on a therapeutic counseling session. It's really good. And last but not least, and this may be a little bit of a challenge for some people depending on your geographic location, is to get out in the sun. A lot of times when we're depressed, we stay inside. We don't want light. We keep the blinds closed. It's like dark. It's, your living area is all black. Get out into the light. Get out in the sunlight. Just sit in the sun. Just get outside. Even if it's not sunny, get outside. Be amongst people. The worst thing you can do is isolate yourself. You want to interact to combat that depression. So I'm going to leave it right here. We will pick up this topic another time and go into further depth on the different things you could do. But I want to leave you with some 1-800 numbers that you could call if you're in the U.S. One is for Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And that number is 1-800-662-HELP. And so that's 1-800-662-4357. Another one is the National Hope Line Network. That's 1-800-SUICIDE. And the numeric of that is 1-800-784-2433. Another one, well, the last one is National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And that number is 1-800-273-TALK. So the numeric of that is 1-800-273-8255. Of course, if it is a dying emergency, please call 911. Especially if you're in the U.S. There's no wrong in that. If you really need help immediately, I would rather you call 911 to get someone to help you, to prevent you from doing something crazy, to harm yourself or to harm anyone. And I hope this helps you. I want you to have a wonderful holiday season. And I really want you to try as many of these different tools to help you get through this season. Just know that you're not alone. I've gone through it. Almost everybody has gone through it. So, and every time I go through these type issues where I'm kind of feeling sad and depressed, I use these tactics and I'm able to bounce back, and they really, really, really do work. So tell a friend, do it yourself, and I hope to see you in the new year. And we have some great shows coming up. Don't forget, if you would like me to talk about a specific topic, or if you have a problem or issue, please email me at sistertalkradio@gmail.com. That's SISTA Talk, TALK, radio, RADIO, @gmail.com. Hit me up, and hopefully we can talk about it in a future show. Have a great holiday season. Check them out.